Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. We are here to support you in finding a personal relationship with the God of your understanding and in discovering what you already know. I am Reverend Karen Wolfson, the founding minister and spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. And I greet you today with Namaste. Namaste is Sanskrit, and it means the divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you. Now let's begin by joining our voices from wherever you are to read aloud our vision and our mission. The words can be seen on your screen. Our vision is empowering spiritual growth as a loving, inclusive, worldwide community. And our mission, we teach science of mind principles and other life-affirming spiritual truths. We explore, learn, grow, connect, honoring all paths to God. We offer in-person and online weekly services, classes, workshops, affirmative prayer support, and other spiritual tools. We create opportunities for joyful social connection, community outreach, and service. And we celebrate the awakening of our innate spiritual magnificence. And now I invite you to join me in pausing, taking a few moments to go within. I encourage you to get comfortable, relax your body, just breathe gently, close your eyes, allow your mind chatter to slow down. And as you are breathing gently, find your inner stillness as our special musical guest, Karen Drucker, sets the tone for us.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Sing that with me once. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Now think of someone in your life you want to sing this to. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. So now let's think of the larger world, your community. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. So it all starts with you. So let's go back to giving it to yourself. Put your hand on your heart and say, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Just that last line. May I be happy. Now affirm it and say, and I am happy.
I invite you to take these affirming words into your heart and let them refresh your spirit. Loving kindness. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease, and I'm happy. I know this is true because at my core, I am a spiritual being, And that is the very nature of Spirit, of God, the Creator. And this is true of each and every one of us as beloved creations of the infinite from its very essence. It is pure love, showing up as kindness, peace, happiness, ease, and well-being. I realize that at times my human tendencies of worry, doubt, and fear can obscure the inner light of this beautiful, beautiful presence. And yet, it is ever present. So today I set the intention to get out of my own way, setting aside any worries, doubts, and fears, and allowing this radiant loving kindness to shine through me, as me. As I allow the peace, ease, well-being, and happiness of my inner spirit to be revealed, I joyfully discover that I move through my day with lightness and expansiveness, being a blessing to those around me, and rippling outward as a healing presence of the loving kindness in the world. I give thanks for this incredible and powerful truth, and so it is. Today, we have a very, very special treat. Our guest speaker and musician is Karen Drucker. But before I tell you more about her, I want to give you a heads up. Stay tuned after you hear Karen. I'll have news about 2 brand new upcoming events. So stay tuned. So as I said, today we have a very, very special treat. Our guest speaker and musician is Karen Drucker. Now, I've known Karen and loved her music for at least 20 years. And I know many of you have so enjoyed hearing our vocalist sing among many of her songs. So, no surprise, she is extremely popular and well-known in the worldwide New Thought community. Karen is a keynote speaker, a women's retreat facilitator, songwriter, entertainer, and she has recorded 20 CDs of her own inspirational music. Karen is also the author of a terrific book to which I often refer. It is titled, Let Go of the Shore. Now, the first time I heard Karen sing was at one of our international conferences held at Asilomar on the Northern California coast. I was so delighted and uplifted by her music that I bought every CD she had for sale. And then when I got home, I remember one evening doing some errands and playing one of those CDs in my car. I was so jazzed that while I was in the Walgreens parking lot, I decided I'm going to call her and tell her how thrilled and how inspired I am by her music. I wasn't at all sure she'd answer her phone, but lo and behold, she did. And she was so real and down to earth, and we had the most delightful chat. I will never forget her kindness and her warmth. And because Karen exudes generous kindness, that it is so fitting that her message today is, my religion is kindness. And so it is my great pleasure to welcome Karen Drucker.
My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. I do. I have to practice it. Because there are days when I wake up and I'm not very kind to myself. I don't know about you, but I can sometimes walk into the bathroom, see myself in the mirror and go, "Oi, what happened? Everything's dropping." I mean, let me ask you a question. Did you wake up this morning and look at yourself in the mirror and go, "Oh my God, did you get more beautiful overnight? Look at this body. Look how fabulous you are." Did you do that? But you know, when you think of the word practice, I want to reframe that and think of it this way. What about if we make my religion is kindness and I practice it every day a spiritual practice? A practice where you start each day by giving yourself loving kindness. And that goes out into the world. You know, I have this thing I do in all of my retreats, all of my workshops, that I have everyone put their hand over their heart. And do this with me right now, if you would. Put your hand over your heart, and I want you to say, what does my heart have to say today? What does my heart have to say? And when you allow yourself to come from that place every day of hearing what you need, what you want, what your desires are, what your spirit is calling you to be or to do, that's the foundation of your day. So the Dalai Lama said, "This is my religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain, our own hearts are the temple. And that philosophy is kindness." So I'm going to speak to you today about kindness, but it's, this is stuff that you already know. I'm not going to be giving you any new information that you probably don't know. It's going to be a reminder. It's going to be a reminder of, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. That you start to just take more time to be kind to yourself. And that's what's going to heal the world. That's what I think. Actually, our new president actually said this. Let me give you this little quote that he said. Let me just get it here. He said, "It's every act of kindness, every human being. We're going to make this change one heart at a time." And that's what it is that when we allow ourselves to check in with our hearts, to be kind with ourselves, we can heal this world with kindness. So in this pandemic, there have been many, many stories of people being kind to each other, of helping each other out, getting through this crazy, wacky time. And I heard this story about this little girl, 4 years old, in Belgium. And she heard about in her community that there were many people that were just by themselves and were lonely. And she decided she was going to do something about it. So she started writing letters every day. And she would have this whole little, group of people that she wrote letters to and made drawings and would deliver them like very officially every day to their front door. And one day she said to her mom, "Well, this doesn't seem right, because it really feels like I need to be more official. And I see the postman and he has an official outfit and I should be more official." So her mother thought this was so adorable and wound up writing to the post office in their little town in Belgium. And someone there thought this was the greatest idea. And they made her a little outfit with her own little case here. Look at this. Check this out. This is Luna. She's 4 years old. And she said the quote that they had in the article was, "She takes occasional breaks at the jungle gym, but ends her day after doing her route very tired but happy." Isn't that great? And then I love this. In Ohio, I heard the story about this, that there was a woman who had her meal paid for. She went to the Dairy Queen in Ohio, and her meal was paid for by the car in front of her. And she thought, "Oh, how amazing. Can I do this for the car behind me?" And she made sure she looked to make sure there wasn't a van of, football players or something like that. But, there was one other person in her little car behind her, and she paid for her meal. Well, that day, and I just have a little picture of this too, there were 900 cars that went through that Dairy Queen. 900 cars. They just kept paying for each other. And that's the sweetest. And on a personal level, I, last year in March, when the pandemic hit, all of my gigs went up in smoke. They were all gone. And I was freaking out about that. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make a living? And I happened to go to a grocery store, and I saw a friend of mine, a musician, who got a job there. And his job was to take the carts and wipe them down, with sanitizer, and give them to the next person coming in. And he told me this story that just really touched me. He said that, he had to get a job immediately because he had a family to support, and he didn't know what he was going to do. I mean, he was a working musician, a touring musician, but he needed to make money right away. And this was the only job that he could find immediately. And when he first got it, he just felt really embarrassed. He didn't want anyone to see him. He was, kind of humiliated that it's like, he's this musician. Why is he just, going around the parking lot collecting carts? But this one day, he saw this woman who looked really down. And he came up and he gave her the cart. And he just said, "How are you? How you doing?" And in that moment, this woman who just kind of was like this, just went, and just her face lit up. And in that moment, he got it. That what was his to do was just be this ambassador of kindness. And she said to him, no one has said anything to me. No one talks to me. I'm just by myself. The only thing I do is I go out once a week to get my groceries. And she was so touched. She said, thank you so much for being so kind to me. And in that moment, he just said, this is it. This is the job I'm supposed to have. And he made every day of this job be this spiritual practice of being kind to each person. And when I saw him again, like the next week, he looked like he was lit up from inside. And that's what kindness is. I mean, sometimes kindness can be a very selfish thing. It makes us feel good. But that's what it's about. That's what it's about, is allowing ourselves to be kind in that way that helps the world. So this practice started for me many years ago of saying, what does my heart have to say? And years ago, I had a job. I was in a little theater troupe, and my character in this little play was called Dr. Heart. And it was a little play that had a little monkey as a puppet and all these little puppets around. And my job as Dr. Heart was I would go up to all the children, and I'd have a little stethoscope, and I'd put my little stethoscope on their heart, and I'd say, what does your heart have to say? Now, this was Bay Area pediatric wards that we were playing with all these sick children. And it was so difficult for me because they were all, hooked up to IVs and everything. But that was my job, was I would go up and I'd say, what does your heart have to say? And these little lammy poos would look up at me with these big eyes. And the doctors weren't around and their parents weren't around. But I gave them the space to say, how are they feeling? What does your heart have to say? And they would say it so honestly. My heart is hurting because I can see my parents are worried. My heart is upset because I want to go out and play with my friends. My heart is scared. And they just voiced what was true for them. But in that moment, they were able to express what was true. And I think that's what we really need to do, is just listen to our hearts. Listen, because when we do that, here's the thing. When we do that, we get out of our heads and get into our hearts, and that's when our hearts can have compassion and empathy, and our view gets larger to be able to include other people and not just us. That we can see other people, we can see how we can be kind and what we can do to make a difference in their world. But the main thing I want to say is that it really does come down to starting with us first and being gentle. I have a song that just says, I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself, and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. That's it. It just says, I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself, and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I wrote that little chant when I had done something really stupid. And I was just beating myself up, and I called a girlfriend up, and I just said, oh, you wouldn't believe this stupid thing I did. And she said, stop. I will not have you talk to my friend that way. She said, would you ever imagine talking to a child the way you're talking to yourself? Imagine a child just trying to stand up for the first time. Would you talk to them like that? No, of course not. You'd be so sweet and gentle. And so in that moment, I got off the phone and I started to rock myself. And I started to kind of just do this and just say, it's okay, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle. It's okay, it's okay. And, in a moment, that song just plopped out. It's just like, that's what I needed to say to myself and to remember that in times when I forget. And I heard a story recently. Do you remember the author Leo Buscaglia? They called him the Love Doctor. And a friend of mine told me this story, and it's a really beautiful story of what this compassion can look like. That Leo was late for an appointment, and he had gotten caught up talking to my friend, And there was a very slow elevator, and they got on the elevator and they were talking to each other. And Leo was already late for this appointment on the 4th floor. But in talking to my friend, he was very caught up in talking to her. He missed his floor. And he got out and realized that, for him to wait for the elevator, and, he was a little bit of an older guy at that point, for him to run down the stairs was not going to be a good idea. But my friend said in that moment, he pressed the elevator again to go to the right floor, and you could tell he was just very agitated and upset. But in that moment, he started to say, "It's okay, Leo. It's okay. You made a mistake, and it's okay." Could you imagine doing that? Could you imagine when you did something wrong, that you just allowed that other part of you that is sweet and kind to come in and just say, "It's okay. You made a mistake. It's not the end of the world. It's okay." Imagine that. Can I just plant a seed that maybe you might try that this week if something happens that you just have a judgment about that you did? It's okay. It's all right. Being kind to yourself. The most dramatic story I can tell you along these lines is about a woman that I read this story, and it affected me so much that I wrote a song about it. But the story is this. There was a woman that was in Kansas. She lived in Kansas City, and she was a nurse. And she had polio as a child and never liked her body, just hated her body, was overweight, it didn't work right. She just had all these judgments about her body. And she wound up getting diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And because she was a nurse, she knew exactly what this was going to be and knew, what the symptoms were going to be. And she decided in that moment when she got this diagnosis that she decided that she was not going to go to her grave hating her body. That if the only thing she accomplished at the end of her life was loving herself, that was going to be her challenge. So she did this incredibly amazing thing. She gave herself a game to play every day, that she had to get in front of the mirror, stand naked in front of the mirror, and make a list of what she saw that was good. Now, at the beginning, she didn't see anything that was good. So she would make this list. It was like, "I hate this," and she just could not turn it around to be what was good. But she did this every day. And after a few months, now she's in a wheelchair, and she's wheeling herself in front of that mirror. And this is her practice. And then one day, all of a sudden, she said, "Wow, I like my hair. And what a miracle that my hands work in this way." And she started to see the good. Very slowly, that's what miracles are, very slowly, she started to see the good and list those things. And eventually, she cured herself of ALS. And she became a minister, and this became what her talk was how gratitude and kindness saved her. And what's amazing about this is I wrote a song called "I Look Good," and I was at a conference, and the organizer said, "Could you, go and open up, sing in front of this speaker?" And the speaker that day was her. And so I met her, and she's an amazing woman. Her name is Evie McDonald. You could look her up. But her story is so inspiring. And when I think of a story like that, and I think, oh my God, how I could be so cruel to myself, how I look, or I've gained weight, or I've lost weight, or all these kinds of just ego-driven chatter in my mind. And I hear a story like that, it's like we need to lighten up. Because again, I think that when we do that, when we're so involved in ourselves, it's like our heads are down. We're not seeing anybody. We're not seeing, period. The more present we are to others and notice them, that's the greatest gift, don't you think? In all of my retreats, I always say that the greatest gift we can say to someone is, "I see you and I hear you. I see you and I hear you. Blessed be, I see you and I hear you." I love this quote, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." You know, I was getting my hair done recently, and yes, I get it colored. And I was sitting there baking in with my red, but there was a woman next to me, 6 feet away, and my friend Anne, who's the hairdresser, was working on her, and she was an older woman, and she was talking about how her husband had cancer, and that she was going through this all by herself of taking care of him, and, you know, it was really hard for her. And my friend Anne, while she's working on her hair, did probably the most beautiful gift. She just kept saying, "Really, tell me more. Tell me more." And this woman just was able to just talk about what was going on for her and be seen and heard. And when she left, I just thought, well, here's another example of, like, you know, no one knows what's going on for her. She's got all this pain inside, but she looks perfectly coiffed, you know, and she walks out. And I said to Anne, what a beautiful gift you gave her. And she said, "That's what my job is. I don't see myself as a hairdresser. I'm more than that. You know, the hairdressing is just what I do. But if I can create a space, a container for someone to be able to talk about what's going on for them, I've done my job on 2 levels." You know, and when we're kind to each other, it's such an incredible witnessing of humanity. You know, I had a situation a few years ago that just touched me so deeply. When my mother passed away, it was the first time I really felt what, you know, deep grief can feel like, and how it can be like waves. I'm sure any of you who have had anyone pass, you know, it's like you can be fine 1 minute, and then all of a sudden you just feel this wave coming up, you know, and then boom, it just comes over you, and you can't really fight it. And I just learned how to ride the waves. You know, some days were better than others, some days were really hard. But there was a moment I was in Costco, and I think I was like in the toilet paper section. I was getting toilet paper. And all of a sudden I went, oh my goodness, here it comes. And I was just standing there, and I could just feel, why in the middle of Costco in the toilet, I have no idea. But for some reason that day, all of a sudden I just felt this wave come up, and I just let myself have it. And I was just standing there, and my back is to everybody else in the aisle, but I was just standing there, and I allowed myself to cry. I wasn't wailing, I wasn't doing this, I was just feeling it and crying. And I was just really in the experience, and I just knew also that when I would allow it to just come and, you know, it would come and go. It would eventually go if I allowed it to just be. And all of a sudden I felt a hand. I just felt this little hand on the back of my shoulder. And it was just someone coming up and just patting me on the back and saying, "I see you, I hear you." I mean, they didn't say anything to me, but just by them putting their hand on my shoulder, I just felt this wave of support. And I wasn't in any condition to even turn around at that moment. I just felt it. And when I kind of let it pass, about 30 seconds later, I looked around, and there was no one there. There was no one even there. And I just thought, what a gift that someone could feel what I was going through. You know, and it's amazing when that happens. And you know, it can happen on the smallest incremental levels that we can practice kindness. I have a friend who has a husband that just every morning will make a bagel. And when he makes the bagel, there's bagel crumbs all over the place. And what's really amazing is she keeps asking him to clean up the bagel crumbs, and he never does. And she keeps going, "Jerry, all I want you to do is just clean up the bagel. That's all you need to do. But then one morning she had an epiphany, and this is what miracles are. Just this epiphany of feeling like, when I see those bagel crumbs, that means he's still here. He's still with me. And in that moment, she blessed the bagel crumbs, and she was never mad at him again. And that's what it can be sometimes, just looking at the people that irritate you and whatever, but they might not be there one day. And so maybe the kindness that you can give can simply just be acknowledging it and letting it go. You know, I love this. I love stories. You could tell I love stories. But I just read this story, and I just thought this is so sweet. I mean, again, the smallest things. That there was this woman was writing about that when she was growing up, there was a man on her street named Mr. Moses. And every single year on New Year's Day, he did this ritual with them. And this is what she writes. He got up at dawn. He's always dressed impeccably in a suit and vest and tie and overcoat and dress hat. And what he would do is start at one end of the block, going to each house and ringing the doorbell. When greeted, he'd take off his hat and step across the threshold just enough so that he was inside. When invited in, he'd always decline, saying he had to keep going, but wanted to make sure that the very first person who entered our home in the new year brought good tidings and well wishes to all of us. He went to every house, then quietly turned around and walked the length of the long block back to his. And this is what really touched me. It was many, many years later, when I was all grown up and moved away, that I wondered if there had ever been someone who came to his house to do that. So I think in these times, that's what we need to look at. How can you be a Mr. Moses to someone? What can you do? What can you do to be kind? In the smallest ways. And when you think about this, you know, it's a very vulnerable thing to do, to be kind, to reach out your hand to someone and, you know, and do something that's sweet, because you don't know. You don't know how it's going to be received. But I'll give you two more little fast stories. Whenever I traveled, I would always have $21 bills with me. That those would be my acts of kindness. These $1 bills, I would sometimes put a dollar bill in a vending machine and say, you know, candy bar on me or whatever. But this one day I was at a local Starbucks, my personal church, and I was at Starbucks, and I saw this woman who was trying to pay for a cup of coffee, and she couldn't find her money, and it was just a cup of coffee. And I said, "Oh, I'll pay for her." And this woman just turned and looked at me like I had three heads and said, "What are you doing? You can't do that for me." And I said, "Oh no, this is my gift. Let me give this to you." And so we go back and forth, and I'm just going, "Lady, it's a cup of coffee." And she's going, "Nah, nah." And finally I just said, "Just take it. It's just a cup of coffee." And she said, "Fine, whatever." And so now we moved down, and this is where you're vulnerable. We moved down to where you pick up the coffees, and it's this awkward silence. You know, it's just this kind of awkward time. And finally she turns to me. And she looks at me, and her face is totally different. And she says, "You know, no one ever does this for me. No one ever does this for me." And I said, "Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this today." And then she turned away and then looked at me again, and she said, "So is this one of those pay it forward kind of deals?" And I went, "Whatever." But the sweetness story is this, that sometimes you need to trust your intuition. You need to trust that there is a higher power saying, this person needs something. And there was a story of a man who went to have lunch, and he saw a woman next to him come in and sit in the booth next to him. And it was an older woman, and she was all, you know, coiffed perfectly with a little carnation on her suit, on her little dress. And he immediately felt he wanted to go and say something to her. But in that moment, he got shy and vulnerable and kind of went, maybe not. And this only happened when he saw saw her family coming towards the table, and, you know, grandkids and, you know, whoever, the whole family was there. So he sat back down, he finished his lunch. When he was done, he got up and he was walking out, And he started to walk past her, and he gave her a little smile, but he got a little tap right here on his shoulder. And all of a sudden, he just heard this voice just say, "Go back." And I love this. This is one of my favorite stories. And he went back to the table, and he said, "Excuse me," and he felt really vulnerable. "Excuse me, and I don't mean to interrupt your lunch, but I just wanted to say something." And he bent down to the woman, and he said, "I just want to let you know that I noticed you when you came in, and you just look really beautiful today, and that the color you're wearing just brings out your eyes, and I just wanted to tell you that you just looked really beautiful, and I just needed to say this to you." And, he said, "I'm sorry to interrupt." And she said, No, don't go away yet." And she said, "I know you." And he said, "Oh, no, you don't know me. We've never met before." And she said, "Yes, I know you." She said, "Today is the 1-year anniversary of my husband passing. And this is my family that is here, that's here with me right now to help me celebrate that I've made it a year and how great I've done. And what you just said to me is exactly what my husband would have said. It's exactly what my husband would have said to me today. So thank you." So he walked away feeling uplifted. And that's what it is. That's what it is when we allow ourselves to trust and be kind. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. We all know that. So Maya Angelou said, "Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness." And Brene Brown said, "The way we will make it through is connection." We are hardwired for connection. And I love this quote. "What if the healing of the world utterly depends on the 10,000 invisible kindnesses we offer simply and quietly throughout the pilgrimage of each human life?" Wayne Muller said that. So I end today with this little chant that I think this is what it's all about. All we can do is be there for each other in these times when we don't know what to do. All we can do is be there for each other and help each other through. So I'm going to give you homework today. The homework is, if I were kind to myself this week, I would what? So think about that. What would you do for yourself this week? And if I were to be kind to someone else this week, what would I do? To someone else, just one small thing. And if I were to be kind to the world, to my community, what would I do? All we can do is be there for each other in these times when we don't know what to do. All we can do is be there for each other and help each other through. Sing it with me one time as a prayer. All we can do is be there for each other in these times when we don't know what to do. All we can do is be there for each other and help each other through. Just that last line. Let's help each other. Help each other through. We've got to help each other through. Thanks for listening. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to the world. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. we strip away our masks, we find that we're really all the same. It's those little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, a connection, a simple love and touch. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path's forgiveness, my religion is kindness. I'm gonna practice it every day. Every day. Now, today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do? What can I do now? To be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through. I'll let my heart be my guide to be the best of me. Go to share my love, share my joy, give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling that lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious, my path's forgiveness, my religion is kindness. I'm gonna practice it every day. I'm gonna blow. Up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Well, then Jack fell down and broke his crown. Jill came running after. She said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind, and oh, I'll be fine. Religion is kindness, my church is nature, my God is a feeling, lives so deep inside. My job is to be conscious, forgiveness. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. My religion is kindness, and my church is nature, and my God is this feeling lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path's forgiveness. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. Every day. My religion is kindness. Gonna practice it every day. My religion is kindness. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to practice it every day. Amen. So it is.
Oh, thank you, Karen, for that fabulous arrangement of your song, My Religion is Kindness. That's going to be ringing in my mind and my heart this week and longer. And bless you for your wise, encouraging words about kindness, especially to ourselves, which does so beautifully ripple out to the people around us. And a reminder to everyone, Karen's many CDs, albums, books, and songbooks are available at www.karendrucker.com. Thanks again, Karen. It has been a joy to have you with us. Now, here at the Center for Spiritual Living, we want you to know that we are available to support you in knowing the power and presence of your spiritual essence. We offer support through prayer, inspiration, encouragement, and opportunities for virtual community and connection. And we really appreciate your support of us so we can support you. And your support comes in the by means of financial gifts. So we can, as I said, continue to support you. Now, there are 3 simple ways that you can share your gift of support. On your screen, you'll see our website where you can select the donate button. And that allows you to contribute by means of PayPal or credit card. Or you can mail a check to our address shown on the website. Or set up an automatic contribution system through your own online banking. Our website is www.cslsarasota.com. And now I invite you to take your virtual gift in your hand, place it over your heart, blessing it as you share it, and know with me, my gift goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me multiplied abundantly. And please join me in our offering affirmation shown on your screen. I give thanks that I may share of my good, my love, and my support. Thank you so much. And now I am so thrilled. Here's one of the 2 announcements I told you about. I'm so thrilled to invite you to a new class beginning Tuesday, April 20th. It's called Your Bigger Life. This class will empower you in exploring how to get more of what you want in life through setting powerful intentions and using spiritual law to support all of it. You'll even create a plan to activate your intention for what's new and next in your life. And you'll be doing all of this with a great group of fellow seekers on the spiritual path. It's sure to be a rich and rewarding experience for you. Now, this class will be facilitated by our wise and loving Kathleen Frankert, spiritual practitioner. It is from 7 to 9 p.m. on Zoom, so you can join from anywhere. There's no prerequisite for the class. There's no membership requirement in this or any center, and whether you're new to this teaching or you've taken other classes or just curious, I guarantee this will be a valuable contribution to your spiritual growth. So for details, visit our website, www.cslsarasota.com, for the current email newsletter, and that includes a flyer about the class. Or if you have questions or would like to register, you can email us at the address that's shown. I hope you'll accept this invitation for experiencing your bigger life. Now, here's announcement number 2, and here's more exciting news for you. A free 1-hour workshop series we've kicked off this month. It's called Healthy Mind, Healthy Body, Healthy Life. This series features 3 members of our spiritual community sharing their amazing expertise, wisdom, and insights. Now, the first workshop was yesterday, April 17th, with Dr. Harvey Kelsis, who's a doctor of Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and it was all about living in the flow. If you missed it, the recording will be available in about a week, and we will give you details as soon as we have that information. And then, jumping ahead, wrapping up this series on June 19th, the topic will be Getting Unstuck, the keys to unlocking your true potential, with Ron Frost. He's a life coach, author, speaker, licensed spiritual practitioner. In this next workshop, the one coming up next, will be on May 15th, and it's presented by Dr. Lisa Lessard. She is a life coach with a PhD in holistic health sciences, and she'll present Creating an Effective Habitual Thought Foundation. Do you find you are feeling anxiety, depression, anger, or guilt more often than you'd like? Well, Dr. Lisa says it's all about the conversation in your head. So join her free workshop to learn how you can consciously create new and more effective habitual thought patterns. You won't want to miss this. Now, a bit about Dr. Lisa. Having also received her degree in social work, Lisa specialized in working with criminal adolescents. And more recently, as a result of her degree in holistic sciences, she brings traditional psychology together with meditation, affirmations, chiropractic, and acupuncture techniques, and more to create a more encompassing, therapeutic, and healing approach. Now, all these workshops will be offered free on Zoom. So to register, check our email newsletter in your email box. And if you're not on our email list, find the newsletter on our website. Again, it's www.cslsarasota.com, or check out our Facebook page for registration information. Mark your calendar now to attend all these wonderful free workshops. Now, would you like prayer support? Do you have a request? Well, on our website, you will notice the green prayer request button, and that allows you to send us your prayer request. Our 4 licensed spiritual practitioners, Kathleen Frankert, Ron Frost, Jim Grove, and Jaron Nelson, stand by, ready to know and affirm spiritual truth with and for you, no matter the situation. And would you like news of upcoming events? Well, sign up for our weekly email newsletter, again, here on our website, or you can click on our Facebook link. Now, 2 more reminders. Pop-up prayers with our spiritual practitioner, Jaron Nelson. These are 5 to 10 minute videos focusing on a particular topic with a short reading, an affirmative prayer, and an affirmation to take with you. And these videos are posted once a week on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and in our weekly e-newsletter. And Jaron welcomes hearing from you regarding topics that maybe you'd like her to use in her pop-up prayers. Just send yours to her email on your screen. And you can scroll through the topics that she has addressed previously and find the encouragement and the support you need in any given moment for almost any subject. Finally, so popular, every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. are spiritual living circles by means of Zoom, and they are open to all and free. Facilitated by licensed spiritual practitioner Jim Grove, this is a great time to connect in community. And these circles are informal, inspiring, thought-provoking, and as I said, free. So email Jim Grove at the address on your screen to receive this week's Zoom link, and also the discussion questions and a copy of the Science of Mind magazine article that will be discussed. This week's is titled The Law is Creative by Margaret Stortz. The Law is Creative. So now, as we conclude this sacred time together, let's set the intention to move forward into our day and the week ahead in peace and loving kindness. I invite you to join singing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. The words will be on your screen, and I thank you for being with us today. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my song.